Hello and welcome to Dice and Demons. I'm Emma, and in this video I want to show you how I paint another Screamer for Tzeentch. And I start off with a model that's been primed using the Wraithbone spray, and then I grab one of the new contrast paints. This one is Striking Scorpion Green, which, I had to get it. Look at it, it's so bright green. I love it. Yeah, I think it's absolutely perfect for a lot of my painting projects. So I just had to get that. And then I thought, what would be a nice contrasting paint to go with the green, and I went for orange. But orange mixed directly with green has a tendency to become some sort of muddy brown color, which I didn't want on my model because I wanted it to be really bright. So I just put a bit of Yarn Yellow, one of the older contrast paints, between the green and the orange. And the orange is also one of the new contrast paints. This one is called Magma Drought Flame, and it has a really nice bright orange color. I'm not quite sure it works quite as well as some of the others as a contrast paint. I don't think it actually creates a lot of contrast. On the other hand, the part of the model where I used it doesn't have a lot of sort of crevices for it to actually flow into, but still you can see with some of the smaller spikes there would be sort of like the opportunity for it to be more contrasty. But the color itself is great. It's just perhaps not as much of a contrast paint as some of the others, in my opinion. Then to make a little bit of contrast on the green parts of the scale, I used some Achillean green, again one of the old contrast paints, and just put that between the scales. Then I used a bit of Snakebite Leather, also one of the old contrast paints, and I put that on the orange parts, so make the small crevices that are on the model more visible. And I also just created some because I thought that the some of the bits of the skin were just a tiny bit boring, so I decided just to add more basically just more stripes and to create some visual interest on the model. Then for the highlights on the scales, I mixed some neon yellow pigment from Green Stuff World with a green floral color that I have. I can't even remember the name right now. But I like the look of it, but I sort of thought that it wasn't quite bright enough, and it also wasn't really easy to see the contrast on the scales. So I decided it looked nice, but a little bit boring. I tried to go over with just a bit of pure yellow. This is Flaskage Yellow, nice bright yellow from Citadel that I really like. And I think that definitely helped a bit. But I still wasn't completely satisfied with the look. I was finding it, I don't know, I wasn't quite satisfied with it. And this is actually a model I had to, where I had to redo some areas in the process. I often just find a sort of a style that just works for me, at least. But in this model, I actually had to think a little bit, which was, an unwelcome situation. But that was what I had to do anyway. So I decided to leave the scales as they were for the time being and work more on the orange skin. So I grabbed a bit of just ordinary orange color paint. I don't remember the name of it. It's just orange, and use that as highlights on the skin. And then I completely forgot, because I was so caught up in the whole painting process and which colors to go with, that I forgot to film 2 steps. So as you can probably see, the scales are looking a little bit darker green in the middle, and that's because I used some Warp Lightning contrast paint, just sort of just dabbed a little bit of contrast paint, darker contrast paint on each of the scales to make them pop a little bit more with the highlights. And then for the orange parts, I mixed a bit of a neon fluor pigment, orange fluor pigment with a bit of ink, yellow ink, and used that as highlights on the orange as well. Then to really make sure that the scales would pop, I mixed some more of the fluor yellow pigment with a yellow ink, and that really created a nice, vibrant, bright yellow that I was happy with. And so I was finally happy with the scales and the skin. So I went on to paint the bone parts like the teeth and the spikes, and I did what I almost always do. I go with the skeleton horde just as the base color, and then I use some snakebite leather to create some darker stripes on the teeth. You could definitely also just go with a dry brush or something, but I like this method the best. So just some sort of not very precise, but relatively precise, nice darker stripes from the root of the teeth and outwards. And once I was happy with the nice dark look, I grabbed a bit of wraithbone and used that on the middle and the edge of the tip of the teeth as well. And again, just using these nice sort of stripes. I think that creates a bit of more visual interest than if I just put it on like in a big glob. And it's not that time consuming, I think. And then lastly, I went over especially the tip of the teeth with a pure white color. This is matte white from the Army Painter. And I know, I mean, realistically, teeth don't have like really bright white tips, but I like the look of it, and I'm not going, as you can obviously tell here from the finished results, I'm not going for realism. I'm just going for what I like the look of. I also decided to go for a sort of bright blue eyes, just because it's a nice sort of contrasting color to the orange, and it works well with the green as well. So yeah, that was my second screamer. Someone suggested in the comments that I should try a nice bright green color, and I really like that idea, so thank you for that. And yeah, this is I mean, this was actually a challenging project. The idea in my mind when I started, it was like really clear, just you know, bright green, bright orange should be easy enough. But as I said, I actually had to go sort of back and forth a couple of times, trying to get it right. I sort of just left it yesterday evening in sort of a state of, this is never going to work. But I'm glad I picked it up again this afternoon, because I quite like the finished result. I think the other screamer I painted a couple of days ago, which was blue and pink, I think that is perhaps prettier, or you know, and definitely more in line with sort of ordinary Tzeentch color schemes. But this was more challenging, but I'm perhaps also even a little bit more happy with the end result, just because the process ended up being quite rewarding and quite fun. And yeah, so it's a really nice painting project. So I still have more screamers to go. So any ideas? The next couple of screamers I have lying around don't have any scales, so they just have sort of I don't know, like just sort of uneven, rough skin. So I can't do what I usually do with just highlighting scales. I have to come up with something else. But if you have any ideas for color schemes or anything, I would definitely love to hear them. And also, if you like this video, you are of course more than welcome to leave a like, and also subscribing to my channel if you haven't done so already. And you can also follow me as Dyson Demons on Twitter and Instagram, and you're also welcome to join the Dyson Demons showroom on Facebook if you feel like that as well. So thank you so much for watching this video, guys, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye!